When something is too hard, there's always another way. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today I want to talk about PREVAILMAN, which is my third account. It's at 3.2 million GP, and it started out in Bronzium 2 last season, got smashed up against the glass against some really crazy accounts, because you can't go into another league until after the end of a season, and so everyone in Bronzium 1 was just smashed up against each other. It was very unpleasant, but now I've gotten catapulted into Chromium 3, which is going to be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see what that's going to leave for us. So we have to put 2 more teams on defense somehow, and I have plans for that, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing with PREVAILMAN. Granted, my account is not the crazy paragon of GP that some of these other accounts that I was facing. Man, I can't believe how efficient they are, just crazy. But I'm gonna show you what we can do with the little that we've got. So let's jump in and do something with ourselves, shall we? Whoa, there we are in BlueStacks once again. Folks, remember to hit that like button or whatever, sub if you want. Would really appreciate that. I do these videos out of love for the player base. I don't get many clicks, so if you could help hook me up with a little bit of algorithm love, I would really appreciate that as well. That being said, let's jump in. So, I mean, everyone's account at 3 million is going to be different, right? Everyone's got a different focus. So I can only explain what I've done. I'm much more of a fundamental squads guy. Like I don't go for the really top heavy stuff right away. I am gonna start tooling up to go for Sith Eternal pretty soon. I haven't decided if I want to get General Skywalker yet first or not. I'm working on Darth Raven right now, but as it stands, I think one of the very most fundamental and awesome squads in this game is the Commander Luke team. So I've put a few extra relics on them just to bolster them a little bit so that they can actually do some good work against the squads they need to counter, like General Skywalker, for instance, or like weak Darth Ravens. This team is great on offense. It's great on defense if your opponent doesn't have something that can easily counter it. This is a very expensive squad, but it does some good work. You guys, if you missed it this last season, I was able to take down a few General Skywalker teams, and I was also able to take down a Supreme Leader Kylo team that had a chink in its armor, in the sense that they put a non-First Order character with the rest of the First Order squad, which means that the Commander Luke team could just go nuts on it. It was pretty fun. So this team works well. Even at lower relics, you can kill Supreme Leader Kylo, apparently. I think they were only relic like 2 at the time. So, really good team. General Grievous, this squad here, this General Grievous squad was able to kill Sith Eternal squad, was able to take down a ton of other really nasty squads. This team is great on defense for stealing banners against certain opponents, and can take down a lot of things. Can you believe that this squad took down a fully relict, and the entire team itself was fully relict Sith Eternal squad? I mean, it seems crazy, but it totally did. I have video evidence of such occurring. Now, it wasn't the best modded Sith Eternal team, but the General Grievous does have a strong mechanism. The mechanics of him do really well against General Grievous. Or again, it's actually a chaotic mirror match. In fact, if you've ever tried it, you should try it at least once, because it is scary as hell. But this team does really, really good work against Sith Eternal. I couldn't believe how well it did against the one that I faced, but I mean, that was my only hope, so we got it done. Next up is Jedi Reppin team, and this is basically my only Jedi team. This is kind of a weird hodgepodge. Ezra is in here for some reason because I don't have a good 5th Jedi, because I've been working on other things like crazy. I need to get these guys up more so that I can get Malak, but this team has legs. It does pretty good work. Keep in mind that if you want to preserve banners, if you're on offense, Basti can be used on offense. She doesn't have her Zeta. If you put her Zeta on, that's even better. And if you don't have her Zeta, make sure you don't count on that extra tenacity bonus that you get from her Zeta. But putting those extra points of extra protection from Bastie's lead can actually give you better banners than if you use Jedi Reppin, even if your Jedi Repin's lead is perhaps a little bit better in the long term. So this squad, it's okay. I put it on defense a lot this season because it can mess with people if they don't know how to counter it. And honestly, like the double revive between a Savior on Revan and Jolie's mass revive can do some messed up things to people's psyche. Next up are bounty hunters, and I would dearly love to get Jango and Boba up to relics. I would also love to get Grief a little bit more love, but there are so many characters that I need to be working on, and so they're probably going to be hanging out here for a while. Maybe I'll just sneak in and upgrade to Boba Fett every once in a while, but one way or another, this team does a lot of work against mid-level teams. It also works if people want to put a Basti lead Jedi team on defense. You don't see it too often anymore, but if people split their Jedi and have Bastille's lead on one and Jedi Revan as lead on the other, Bosk lead can totally just tear them apart, especially because Boba does so much work against those huge stacks of buffs with his execute. So this team works really well against a lot of different teams. It's solid silver all the way around. It's not gold against anything specifically, unless you're facing a Darth Raven team without Basti and Malak. Even with Malak, sometimes you can win, depending on the gear levels and stuff. So I mean, it's one of my favorite squads. Keep in mind though, it's one of the best fundamental squads in the game because you need it for everything. You need it so many different places in the game. This squad will, and it keeps giving. I'm using it every single match on offense on my main account against good teams. So you invest in your bounty hunters, guys. You're not going to regret it. Just don't invest in Greedo. He sucks. Now, I showed this on my other alt account video. We have Kira with Nest here, and my Nest is able to kill a lot of different things this season. You actually use Triad lead at one point to take down a B1 in a squad, and I don't know, Nest just does a lot of good. If she doesn't get one shot by something, which there's a lot of threats to that, then she's gonna do some work, especially at this level. She's usually gonna get you a solo. And remember guys, don't always use Kira as your crutch. Like, that's an extra 3 banners that you don't have to just throw in the garbage if you don't need to. Nest can do a lot of her work on her own. Just make sure she has a lot of tenacity and extra health and offense, and call it good. Crit damage on her triangle is wonderful, and more relics than 2 is probably called for as well. So we've got Padme here, and I have R2-D2 here because he's kind of, I don't even know where he'd go otherwise. He's just kind of a weirdo, just hanging out, handing some stats to everyone, giving foresight and the like. But this team, obviously it does some work. It does good. And Anakin, gosh, why is he only relic 1? He needs to be like at least 3 relics higher. But yeah, this team, it's just a really fundamental, basic team, and having relics on them is all good. Honestly, the more relics you can put on this squad, the better, just because all of that extra health and everything is just really nice. Padme turns it into a ton of bonus protection, and it turns into some gross stuff. So the fact that I don't have high relics doesn't mean that you shouldn't have high relics. Just the way I constructed this account previously meant I needed to keep a low relic profile. So yeah, high relics on Padme, and go forth and prosper, guys. I put it on defense a lot. Some people have figured out that you can use Palpatine with Vader to counter this. You gotta be careful in that case, but scout your opponent. That's also something good. So I have my Darth Raven team, and it's actually starting to look like an okay team now that Basti is relicked and Darth Raven is 1 piece away from Gear 12. So make your Darth Raven fast. In this case, without Malak, it's probably better on offense, but on defense, people are going to people are gonna overkill it like crazy. They won't know exactly what to use, and so like Padme beats this fairly easily. In fact, as long as you have a relic Padme team, she just wipes the floor with them. But if people don't know that, they're gonna spend something crazy. They'll spend a galactic legend on it if they're not, if they don't know what's going on. And so this team can also punch decently well on offense. You just need to make sure you pick the right team. Make sure that you use the death mark from Darth Raven strategically against the right squad, and make sure you time it the right way. It can be really tricky to do without a lot of practice, though. I do have my Chirpa walks, Ami walks, I don't know, I have the Omicron on Chirpa, and actually my fastest character on this squad, which I think maybe is folly, but it's kind of fun anyways, is Pat Blue. He's at 273 speed, which is plus 30 speed from Chirpa, makes him over 300 speed, and then with this extra 25 plus 25% speed on top of that, he is pushing close to somewhere right around 400 speed. So it's kind of silly for a gear 12 Pat Blue to be that fast, but this squad is it won me a few different matches just because people don't expect Ewoks to be that fast or that good, and it's just kind of nice, guys. Invest in your Ewoks if you can. Next, we have my emaciated Geos. Poor guys. I just put gear 9 on Soldier because I felt pity for him, the poor scrawny thing. And this whole team, the awesome thing about Geos is, I mean, sure, they all benefit from having higher gear. That's obvious. But even at low gear, there is some benefit just because there's a flat amount of health and protection that they all get just from having the Brood Alpha as the lead. So they all get an extra 30k health and protection. Well, mixed, but I mean that's a relatively high number if you just have them all at gear 8. So like Soldier, for instance, he has gear 9. He's at less than 30k health and protection, and then the Brood Alpha hands their bonus and instantly doubles the health and protection on Soldier. So at lower levels, a lot of times that health and protection is all coming from the Brood Alpha lead. And so just something to keep in mind, guys. If you don't have Geos and you don't want to work on them right now, even gear 8 Geos are pretty nice, just in terms of like their overall hit points are all coming from the leadership of the Brood Alpha. So just something to be thinking about. I showed you guys this squad on my alternate account as well. Palp lead, you want his Zeta with Vader and Thrawn and Mara. You don't necessarily need Thrawn, I just threw him in there because where the hell else do you put a gear 8 Thrawn? But Thrawn and Mara both go really well with this squad. Mara obviously goes really well with Palpatine, and together they work really nicely with Vader, taking out Geos, taking out all kinds of stuff. Even at gear 8, Mara Jade I expect to be an incredibly important piece to everything. As I alluded to in my alt video, I had just recently on this account been missing Bastila Shan Fallen because she is now with Darth Raven, and Basti was going with this squad, because of all the suite of debuffs that she hands out and everything, and Mara Jade is going to replace her, like almost entirely. In fact, I think Mara is going to end up being better for this squad in the long run. So, Gear 8, 3-star, not really a problem as long as she doesn't get hurt. You need to make sure that Vader's going first, but as long as he does go first, she shouldn't be in that much of danger, to be honest. Okay, I have troopers here, probably just going to be on offense, but I mean, they're probably just going to sit there, frankly. You want Piet to be fast, he's only gear 8, he can't be that fast. You want Dark Trooper to punch hard, he's only gear 9, he's not going to punch that hard. Working on this squad, the rest of them can honestly just stay where they're at. Gear 7 sounds silly, but Gear 7's enough for this squad. You really only need Piet and Dark Trooper to amount to anything, and once they do, they can do some pretty cool stuff. I have my Night Sisters team, which they keep getting more work done. It's exciting. Gear 10 on Zombie minimum. You have to get that gear immediately. Then the rest of them can come along slowly. You want the lead on Talzin, the unique on Asajj for Zetas, and then the Old Daka one as well. Old Daka wants relics. I'm really pushing to get relics before before lock. I don't think we're gonna get there, but having relics on Daka would be really nice, because once you do that, then the rest of the team can die, and she just keeps reviving. This team has a lot of functionality at low gear levels, as long as old Daka isn't low gear level. So lots of relics on her, relic 3 minimum, in my opinion. But I still think that this squad has some legs against some weaker squads. Remember, we're going to be facing 7 squads on defense, and not everyone is going to have the asinine, ridiculous rosters that I was facing toward the end of the last season. So this is a really good squad to punch upward. You guys will be surprised with how good the squads are that they're killing, or I'll jump in and I'll be surprised and embarrassed by how quickly they get wiped out. We'll see. I think if you pick the right target, though, this squad has a lot of legs, even at this low gear level. Okay, I have Phoenix back, guys, because I need another squad, and remember, we're showing 15 squads instead of 14, so I wanted to make sure I'm showing all the squads I have. So we have Phoenix. They probably go on defense, some on offense. They can work as well. I mean, they're only gear 8 on everyone except for Chopper's gear 9, and then Sabine is 11. Sabine with her Zeta, though, really makes this team a lot stronger. Because she's buffing the whole team, she's exposing and staggering the whole rest of the other team. Her Zeta allows her to spam her grenades every other turn. It's a really good Zeta, guys. She's not a great character necessarily, but I love her Zeta. I'm excited to get to use it again in a relevant way this season. I think I'll have a few opportunities. Next is my really bad Old Republic. We're trying to move them upward just to be able to have a chance at getting that Darth Malak unlock. But for right now, the squad still has a chance to be totally fodder on defense. They're not very good. You probably want Zetas on like Mission and Zalbar, maybe even Karth, but you know, it is what it is. You need more teams. This team has synergy, and they can heal some. Some people won't know what to do against it, and they'll just throw something in and lose, or they'll just be wise veterans and throw in OG Kylo and solo it for max banners. So it just depends on what your opponent is going to be able to do. Sometimes don't place this on defense. Sometimes on offense, this team is going to be able to kill like Night Sisters. Like, you can do that. You can win a mirror match if you are okay with chaos. Canderous is kind of the star of the show, actually. So kind of excited to see what he does. I can't believe I've geared him 3 different times. So stupid, guys. Canderous is ridiculous, though. And finally, we have this weird hodgepodge conglomeration of whatever I have left. So we have Traya, we have Nihilist, and I kind of like this version of the team because I don't have a good Scion right now. So we need some kind of a tank, and we get Watt here, and probably maybe we don't use 5's lead. I don't know, but 5's lead, Traya lead, something like that, and then Watt can put the tank tech onto 5's, and then 5's can, I like the tank tech on 5's, and 5's as the lead because he heals himself with his lead as well. And then you can just wait for, you know, Nihilist just hides behind 5's. You can have old Ben taunting just for fun, and waiting for, you know, 5's to die or something. And as long as Nihilist can get off his Annihilate eventually, even at gear 9, then you're good to go. You know, whether you have Trail lead or Nihilist. You could have Nihilist lead too, actually. He's not as bad as people think. You just have to be real cautious in who you're facing with it. But, you know, Watt creates his own team. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it at least one more time. Watt creates his own team. He just does. You need a tank, you need a damage dealer, and then you can profit. You need to. I created a bunch of different teams last season on multiple accounts just because if I don't need Watt to counter a Galactic Legend, which I don't on this account especially, then you can use Watt for all kinds of fun creative things. So those are the teams that I'm going to be using this season. Let me know in the comments what you think. What teams will you be using this season in Chromium? Are you going to get paired with me? Seems like a lot of fun, guys. I'm excited for this upcoming GAC season. Wish me luck in getting better so that my voice doesn't sound like this the whole time. And thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zereth prevails. And as always.